My name is Colleen, and this is my kitchen. Believe it or not, this was me 4 years ago. I struggled with my weight my entire life. And finally, I came to the realization that diets don't work. By simply eating healthy and moving more, I was able to lose over 100 pounds. I started at a size 26W, and within about a year and a half, I went to a size 12, no W. And best of all, I've now kept the weight off for over 2 years, and counting. So now here I am in my kitchen showing you how you can eat healthy and lose weight just like I have. Because if I can do it, you can too. Hello and welcome back to my kitchen. Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and I know I love it when my special someone makes me a great dinner. So tonight I have a perfect lover's recipe for you. We're going to be making Chardonnay steamed lobster tail over a saffron risotto. Sounds really complicated. It's very gourmet, but it's really easy to make, and I'm going to show you how easy it is. So let's get started. Our lobster is going to start with 2 lobster tails. I'm using a 4-ounce rock lobster tail, and you can see the meat is inside of there. And you could cook them whole like this, however it makes it a little bit difficult to eat. So let me show you how I prepare it. You're going to need a pair of sharp kitchen shears, and you're just going to take the scissors and cut in a straight line right down the center of that tail, all the way down. Very gently, kind of pry up the shell there. And we're going to take the meat out of the shell. Just like that. Now I'm going to repeat that for the other lobster. Once I have both lobster tails opened up, I'm going to go ahead and take the shell and the meat and rinse them in cold water. I wash these up, and then I wash my hands with some warm water, and I'm just going to take a little bit of salt and pepper like that, season up the meat, and then I'm going to stuff it back into the shell. When I cut open the shell on the lobster, it creates this kind of crack that runs down the back of that meat. And so what I'm going to do is just take a teaspoon of butter and push it right into that crack. And so when we steam the lobster, this is going to melt and really kind of cover over the lobster, add a little bit of flavor to it. Okay, just like that. Final step, before we start on the risotto, final step is we're going to take a skewer and put it through that lobster meat all the way down into the tail. Just a short skewer will do. And you want to do this to keep the lobster from curling up and it becomes bent over and not very pretty when you steam it if you don't skewer it. So that's it. Lobster is prepped. Let's go start the risotto, and then we'll finish cooking the lobster. To start the risotto, first of all, I have 2 cups of a homemade salt-free chicken broth that I'm simmering here on a back burner. I want to keep that ready and warm for when I need it for the risotto. And then I have 2 teaspoons of olive oil that I'm heating in a saute pan over medium heat. Let's go ahead and add 1 shallot. I've minced up 1 shallot here. It's created, I'd say about 3 to 4 tablespoons worth of shallot there. Go ahead and toss that in the oil. And I'm going to saute this for, about 2 or 3 minutes just to let it get lightly browned. Once that shallot browns up, let's add 1/3 cup of arborio rice. This is what risotto starts with. It's a version of rice, but it's very, very starchy, and that's what helps create that really kind of thick and creamy flavor to risotto. So I'm going to go ahead and stir this, make sure that it gets coated with that oil, and just let it brown up for about, a minute or two. So now we start adding the liquid to our risotto. And what I like to do is add the chicken broth in 1 ladle at a time. And the secret is not to let it dry out. So I'm going to add 1 ladle, give it a good stir, and then once there's just a very little left in the bottom of the pan, I'll add another ladleful, and I'll keep doing that until it's cooked through. Now, we don't want to forget the saffron, so I have here a nice pinch, generous pinch of saffron, and because I'm using a salt-free broth, I'm going to go ahead and add a pinch of coarse sea salt as well. Let's give that a stir, and you can see that initial ladleful evaporated really quickly. So let's go ahead and add another one there. There we go. So that arborio rice is going to soak that up, start fluffing up, releasing its starches. And as I said, I'll just keep adding that broth until the rice is completely cooked through. When I get down to about 2 ladlefuls of broth left to put in the risotto, I want to start the lobster, because you don't want the risotto to sit there while the lobster is cooking. You want it to be nice and fresh, ready at the same time. So to steam the lobster, first of all, I have 1 cup of Chardonnay, and I'm using a Penfolds Chardonnay from South Australia. It has a great kind of buttery texture to it, while with just a hint of lemon that works really well with the thyme that I'm going to also put in there, and 1 bay leaf. So now what I want to do is go ahead and bring that to a boil. I'm going to put my steamer basket right on top of it. You want about 1 inch between the liquid and the lobster while it's steaming. Once that comes to a boil, I'm going to go ahead and add those lobster tails in there, cover the pot, and I'm going to let that continue to boil for 8 minutes, no more than 8 minutes. When I'm down to the last ladleful of broth for that risotto, I'm going to go ahead and add 1/3 cup of chopped sun-dried tomatoes. Make sure to use the kind that are dried, not packed in oil. And then about 1.5 cups of frozen artichoke hearts that I've defrosted and given a very coarse chop to. And I like to add them at the end because I don't want to overcook them, but I do want them to warm up and really mix in with the flavor of that risotto. Okay, the broth is just about absorbed in here. You always want to do a taste test with risotto to make sure that it's cooked through before you stop cooking it. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Creamy, rich, not crunchy or chewy at all. Perfect. So now, let's turn off that burner. I've got about 1/4 cup of roughly chopped Italian parsley there. That's going to add a nice pop of color to the dish, and 1 ounce of shredded Parmesan cheese. Let's go ahead and give that a stir, remove it from the heat, and we're going to go ahead and serve this up. And here we go. How beautiful is this dish? Chardonnay steamed lobster tail over saffron risotto. Really easy. Impressed your sweetheart with it for this Valentine's Day. I'm going to go sit down and share this dish with my special someone, and I hope to see you next time in my kitchen.